One of the more interesting things about retirement planning is that two people can retire with almost the exact same amount of money, end up having completely different retirement outcomes. One household feels organized, the other feels more stressed. One household has flexibility, the other feels like every financial decision creates another problem somewhere else. And usually, the difference has very little to do with just the investment performance alone. What actually creates the gap is how well the Social Security, the tax strategy, the investments are all coordinated together once retirement income begins. Because once paychecks stop, retirement planning becomes a moving system. Social Security affects taxes, taxes affect withdrawals, withdrawals will affect your portfolio sustainability, and portfolio decisions affect long-term income flexibility. That's why in this video, I'd like to walk you through 5 key parts of retirement planning that can help make retirement income feel far more coordinated and far less reactive over time. Hi, I'm Chris Knight with Cornerstone Wealth Planning because today's retirement decisions tend to affect far more than just your investments alone. And we help clients build strategies where all the moving parts work together. If you'd like help evaluating your own plan, there's a link in the description where you can schedule a complimentary call with our team. Now, let's start with the foundation that drives almost everything. Key number one, retirement is an income system. Now, a lot of people heading towards retirement naturally focus on their account balances. What's been saved? How much is in the 401k? How much is invested? How much has accumulated over the last 20 or 30 years? But once retirement begins, the conversation begins to shift fairly quickly towards income. Not just because retirement expenses don't get paid from your percentages on a statement, but understanding that they get paid from your monthly cash flow. And this is where retirement planning starts becoming much more interconnected. Here's what I mean. For example, someone could have IRA accounts, brokerage accounts, cash reserves, and they likely have the future Social Security income that will be coming in, maybe a pension. But the real planning work begins once you start asking, where does the income come from first? How will those tax withdrawals be taxed overall? How much pressure is being placed on the portfolio when you start taking withdrawals? How about the changes that will occur once Social Security begins? In our mid 70s, we'll all begin having these required minimum distributions that will start there from our retirement accounts that we've never paid tax on before. And that's where it really starts to make a big difference on the way to understand that all these parts of the puzzle are all connected together. And this is where retirement planning starts becoming much more strategic overall. One of the first things that we typically build for clients is a retirement income map, a clear picture of where income is coming from today, what retirement spending will actually look like, and how much flexibility exists inside the overall plan. And also whether the withdrawal strategy appears sustainable long term. Because once those numbers become organized clearly, retirement decisions usually become much easier to evaluate and navigate. And by the way, if you're enjoying the video so far, do me a favor, hit the like button. It really helps this channel reach more people approaching retirement who are trying to make these wise, informed financial decisions. Now, once income planning becomes clear, the next piece is key number two, exploring the Social Security strategy. Now, one reason Social Security decisions become so important is because they rarely affect just one area of retirement. For example, delaying Social Security may increase guaranteed income later on in life, but delay may also create several lower income years earlier in retirement. And in some situations, those years become very valuable planning years from a very important tax aspect or perspective. And here's what I mean. Retirees may have opportunities at that point to withdraw strategically from IRAs. They could perform Roth conversions or intentionally manage taxable income in those early years before larger income sources begin stacking together later on, especially with those required distributions down the road. Now, compare that to someone who immediately turns on Social Security while also taking larger IRA withdrawals right away. That same retirement asset, but it's a completely different tax picture over time. And this is where retirees often realize how connected these decisions really are. A Social Security decision will impact your future taxes, your Medicare premiums, your portfolio distributions. And all of these pieces, again, are connected in ways that many folks don't realize on the front end. This is why retirement income planning tends to work much better when these decisions are coordinated together instead of handled individually. And this leads directly into another area that quietly reshapes retirement over time. So here's key number 3, retirement tax planning. Now, one thing that surprises people fairly often is how different taxes can look 5 years, 10 years into retirement compared to those first few years after leaving work. These early retirement years sometimes look relatively tax efficient. Then later on, Social Security begins, RMDs begin, income grows, and your taxable income starts layering together all these income sources. And suddenly, retirees realize they have few options and oftentimes much less than they expected before they went into retirement. This is one reason tax diversification matters so much. Having different account types, tax classification of accounts that are taxed in different ways creates a great level of flexibility later. Some assets may create taxable income, some may create capital gains treatment, some may even potentially create tax-free income. Now, that flexibility allows retirees to adjust withdrawals more intentionally over time. And in many cases, improving withdrawal sequencing along can significantly improve long-term tax efficiency. No special investment required, just better coordination across all the moving pieces. If you'd like help evaluating whether your current retirement income strategy may create unnecessary tax pressure later on, there's a link in the description where you can schedule a free call with our team. Now, taxes are extremely important and matter, but retirement investing changes too once income starts coming from the portfolio. So it brings us to key number 4, investing differently during retirement. Investing during retirement feels different for one major reason in retirement. The portfolio now has responsibilities beyond just growth. What do I mean? Now it also needs to support your income, your ongoing stability, your withdrawal sustainability, your tax efficiency, and overall ensuring that you can emotionally handle the way that your investments are allocated. So this changes how many retirees experience market declines. During those working years, downturns often feel temporary because the income, the paycheck, is still coming in from employment. But during retirement, withdrawals are now happening at the same time as markets are fluctuating. This is what's called sequence of returns risk, and this is why it's so important later in life during retirement. It's one reason retirement portfolios often need a different structure than they did during the accumulation phase of life. The objective usually shifts now towards balancing growth, income sustainability, and ongoing with distributions from the portfolio that can be sustained over your retirement. This is all important because retirement planning becomes much more practical once the portfolio is supporting real-life cash flow needs instead of simply maximizing long-term growth. Now, all of this eventually ties into the final piece that brings the entire retirement plan together. This is key number 5, building the retirement blueprint. The households that usually feel the most confident heading into retirement tend to have clarity around how all the major pieces fit together financially. Now, this is not just investments, but this includes all your income sources, your taxes, withdrawals, Social Security, healthcare planning, and long-term flexibility. And that's why building a retirement income blueprint can be so valuable. It's understanding how income is generated, how those withdrawals will affect taxes, how much flexibility exists inside the plan, and whether the withdrawal strategy appears sustainable over time, and how the overall strategy may need to adapt as life changes throughout retirement. Because retirement planning becomes much easier to navigate once the moving parts stop competing against each other and start supporting each other cohesively. And that's exactly what we help clients do at Cornerstone Wealth Planning. If you think it'd be helpful to have your own personalized retirement blueprint, and it's real simple. You can click the link in the description below. You can schedule a free call with our team because we believe retirement planning often becomes much more effective once Social Security decisions, taxes, investments, withdrawal strategies stop operating independently of each other and start working together as one cohesive, coordinated plan. So if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.